Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
If I wanted to, I could literally do video after video after video of nothing but recalls, automotive recalls. I don't know what's going on, but there have been, at least it seems to me, more recalls in the last 6 months than I've seen in any other 6-month period in my life. And I've been following the automotive industry for 31 years as a lawyer, and then prior to that, just as somebody fascinated by automobiles. So the number of recalls out there is just shocking. And the recalls, they're always safety related, so they're serious in nature, but once in a while you see things about fires. And this gets my attention. I kind of have to do this. But from KBB.com, there's been a recall alert for Ford, the Ford Escape, Maverick, and the Lincoln Corsair. Okay? Sean Tucker wrote this for KBB. Ford has issued a recall for about 100,000 small hybrid SUVs and pickups due to the risk of an engine fire. Engine fires are obviously very serious, and it seems that Ford has an issue with things catching fire. And this recall affects certain Ford Escape hybrids from 2020 to 2022, the Lincoln Corsair hybrid SUV, as well as the hybrid versions of the all-new 2022 Ford Maverick compact pickup. Ford says it has received 23 reports of engine fires, but no injuries. Now, I will admit, this is where it gets kind of murky, because they've got 23 reports of engine fires, but no injuries. So you got 23 cars that caught fire. Wow, that's bad. Well, if you do the math on how many vehicles are out there, they say it affects about 0.17 out of every 1,000 vehicles. They're doing the math for you so you understand that not every one of these things is going up in flames. And there have been no injuries, by the way. But NHTSA requires them to issue the recall if there's a safety-related defect. And by definition, vehicles catching on fire are considered safety-related. All the recalled vehicles use the same 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine mated to a small electric motor. Ford says if the engine should fail, enough oil and fuel vapor can accumulate near the hot engine parts to trigger a fire under the hood. Now, I appreciate the fact they gave us that information, but they haven't explained what kind of failure could cause the oil and fuel vapor to accumulate near the hot engine. So are we talking about a cracked block or a blown gasket or a fuel line, or because it goes engine oil and fuel vapor, implying that those would both be released by a particular kind of failure. And so I don't know. It could be a lot of wacky things, but the engine failures are rare, okay? So Ford dealers will fix the problem by modifying an under-engine shield to allow the vapor to escape. Recall repairs are always free, and that's something I've always told people. Check your VIN at NHTSA, and it'll tell you there if there are any open recalls on your vehicle. And if there are, go get them done. It's free. And I've had people say, Steve, but you bring your vehicle in there and try to sell me something. Yeah, they're going to try. That's what car dealers do. So what? Go get your free. It's like somebody offering you a prize, and you know, but they're going to try to sell me something. Just go in, get the prize, and go, screw you. I don't want your stuff. And so when you go into the dealership, and you go, I want this recall performed, and they go, oh, why don't you go walk around the showroom? Go, no, I'll sit here. Salesman comes in, what are you doing here? Recalling my vehicle. You want to go look at new vehicles? No, I'm a little ticked off. This one's got a recall on it. So I'm not in a good mood right now. You don't want to talk to me. If you can't get a salesperson to leave you alone, let me know. I should do a whole video on things you can do to get a salesman away from you. Until the repair is completed, Ford says, owners are advised to park and shut off the engine as quickly as possible. If they hear unexpected engine noises, notice a reduction in vehicle power, or see smoke. I'm sorry. You do realize that statements made by Ford Motor Company, GM, Chrysler, Toyota, Honda, they're not lightly made. It's not where somebody woke up this morning and said, I got to make a statement, and just whipped something together. A group of people sat down. It involved lawyers, engineers and public relations people. And they had a big whiteboard. And they said, okay, here's what we got to do. We got to let people know what the problem is, what they can do to minimize the problem. But we do have to warn them so that the warning is adequate. And we've got to make it look like we're competent, like we know what we're doing. And we can't scare people. We don't want people to think we're building dangerous cars. So, until the repair is completed, Ford says, owners are advised to park and shut off the engine as quickly as possible if they hear unexpected engine noises, notice a reduction in vehicle power, or see smoke. So you know, at that meeting. Somebody said, well, tell people they got to shut the car off as quickly as possible if they hear unexpected engine noises. Now, that's probably a good idea any other time as well, if your car makes unexpected engine noises. Most people don't know enough about cars to recognize what's a serious engine noise versus a non-serious engine noise. So, for example, it's possible that you have a belt that's squealing underneath the hood of your car. That's a problem, but it might not be a serious problem in that it might not damage anything. It might just be a loose belt. Okay? On the other hand, a rod knock could be quite serious. Or the noise that a piston makes when it exits the engine through the oil pan. Now that's an unexpected engine noise. And that might also result in a reduction of vehicle power. But if you see smoke, shut your car off. Now, you know that the public relations person is going, do we really have to put that in there? Because it's going to imply these things go up in flames. Well, it is good advice if you see smoke to park your car and get away from it. But somebody actually had to say, yeah, it's got to say, or see smoke at the end of the statement. Fine, issue it. And it got signed off by like 20 people, and they all reviewed it, and they hesitated, and then they issued it. Owners are advised to park and shut off the engine as quickly as possible if they hear unexpected engine noises, notice reduction in vehicle power, or see smoke. Many cars are recalled to fix safety defects, sometimes more than once. While automakers try to reach every owner to ask them to bring the vehicle in for repair, they rarely reach them all. Millions of vehicles on American roads need free recall repairs. To find out if your car is one of them, check the VIN tool on the internet, and there's one at NHTSA.gov, NHTSA.gov. And I had friends who worked at Ford Motor Company back in the day when their slogan was, quality is job one. And I was talking to him one day, and he said a guy walked into one of their meetings and said, guys, quality is job one, putting out the fire is job two. And now, that's a funny joke. Trust me, it's funny. However, that was involving their ignition switches. Now, you think, wait, ignition switches, that's General Motors. No. General Motors had a problem with ignition switches that would flip out of the run position and lock the steering column while the car was driving if you had the right combination of weird things happen, like you hit a severe bump and the detent spring wasn't strong enough, that kind of thing. Years earlier, Ford had a problem with something in the ignition switch assembly up here that would cause something to short out and the car to catch on fire. And it happened to quite a few vehicles. And the weird part was that for a while, the question was, I'm trying to put this as delicate as I can, the question was, when did Ford realize it was a problem? When did everyone else realize the problem? And when did NHTSA get notified it was a problem? Because there are people whose houses burned down because their car or truck was in the garage, the ignition caught on fire, the house burned down, and then the homeowner's insurance paid for the damages. And you may recall, if you think back far enough, there was a time when Ford got sued by all kinds of people over this, including insurance companies, that wanted reimbursement for the money they had paid out for homes that had burned, but they had burned because of a truck in the garage with a faulty ignition switch. So yeah, quality is job one. Putting the fire out is job two. But here we go. KBB.com and Sean Tucker wrote this. Recall alert, Ford Escape, Maverick, Lincoln Corsair all could have engine fires watch for the recall, and get it done. Questions or comments, put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. You must be the change you wish to see in the world.